So thank you, Mananki, for joining today on Let's Talk Business series by RealtyNXT.
Thanks a lot, Kritika, for having me here. I'm super excited. This is my first kind of live podcast, and also I'm very excited to meet you personally.
Great. So let's start with Clara West, right? So what inspired in the founding of Clara West?
Yeah, so, Clara West actually came out of a very, very personal problem. Karan Shetty, who is my co-founder, and I lived in Silicon Valley for about 10 years. I primarily worked in finance, so worked in KPMG, did finance compliance for about six and a half years, then moved to Robinhood. At Robinhood, I was one of the core founding compliance team member, so saw through Robinhood's IPO. Karan is a product technology person, so I've always worked in healthcare tech, a little bit of prop tech. And during this 10-year journey of ours, we realized that we had access to invest in most of the asset classes. So be it your basic FDs, SIP, mutual fund. Living in Silicon Valley, you had to do a little bit of crypto for sure.
Right.
Except this one beautiful asset class, which was real estate. And the issue was, it takes you so much amount of time and money to invest in real estate that we were never able to do it. I also come from a real estate family background, so my family has been in real estate construction from past 30 years. So I've always understood the importance of having real estate in your portfolio. How you invest in real estate, what kind of things you need to understand when you are investing in real estate. So I've been learning this since childhood. And when this problem occurred, we both felt super passionate about it. And that's the reason we started Clara West. We are like, why is there so much issue that a retail investor, people like us, cannot invest in real estate because of this barrier of high entry ticket size? And that's where we moved around, I think 2 years ago, and we started Clara West a little over a year ago. Clara means bright, West comes from investing. Clara is also the college where the two co-founders met, was Santa Clara University. So that's how Clara West was born.
Interesting. But as you said, you moved back 2 years ago, right?
Yes.
So I'm sure you must have seen the real estate market there. There must be a lot of being organized, a lot of proper process and, the structure being in place. And coming back to Indian real estate, where we still are seeing being, structure now being in place. Earlier, it was very disorganized market.
Yeah.
So how did you adapt to, I understand you're coming from the real estate background, but how did you adapt to this certain sector? Because there's stark differences between the global market and here. And to work and bring a concept like fractional ownership in this space must have its own challenges, right?
Definitely. So we have been talking about this fractional ownership concept since quite a few years now, like even in California. We are thinking about why can't us friends just get together, get a property, rent it out, and after a few years we could go ahead and sell the property. The initial conversation with lawyers in India, we were both very sure that we wanted to anyways move back to India. That was the North Star anyways. We had started conversation with legal team, lawyers, understanding the perspective around it. Also, after RERA has come into picture, the whole trust factor is something that has increased in real estate. Now, people can track what is happening in the particular project where they have invested their money or bought their homes. So, obviously required a lot of learning and a lot of social changes also to adapt. But that was just something that we were very ready to move to India and start doing.
But tell me, fractional ownership still is quite relatively new in India, right?
Yes.
The concept.
Yes.
And we have seen so many fractional ownership platforms have come in past few years in India, in commercial space especially. So when you see such market where a lot of platforms in terms of investment platforms are there, how do you differentiate yourself when it comes to your platform among these other players who are making their mark in fractional ownership?
Definitely. I mean, when we decided to make a move, obviously the fractional ownership, industry was growing in India.
Yeah.
The number of big players were already in the market. They were also doing quite well. One thing that we realized at that time, and also it is currently happening right now also, that the real estate investment narrative has shifted a little bit from what historically it has been. Meaning that, the narrative is a lot on invest in real estate for rental yields.
Right.
Versus historically, it has always been that you invest in real estate because of the whole property appreciation aspect. We also realized that 80% of the total real estate is residential. So we're like, why not we start a company which does fractional ownership in residential space? However, I do want to clarify a few things over here, that we're not completely like married to just doing residential real estate, but that is just some avenue where we thought that we are comfortable starting with.
Right.
So that's why we started with residential real estate. I'll also give you an example about the whole narrative change, right? There's a recent Knight Frank Wealth Report of 2024 that actually came out quite recently, and it kind of states that the Indian UHNI, out of their entire investment portfolio, invests 32% of that into residential real estate. So there's definitely a potential, and there's definitely a market which is very restricted to HNIs and UHNIs. All we are trying to do is bring that access to the retail investor.
True. But do you face challenge where you have to create awareness to your investors in terms of why residential is a good investment, where we are seeing, as I told you, the existing market in fractional ownership is more on the commercial front, where they promise you a certain amount of returns and certain amount of when you can cash out and get a good return on investment. So in terms of residential, what kind of challenge lies when it comes to creating awareness?
Definitely there's awareness. The two awareness, right? First is a lot of people actually still don't know what fractional real estate ownership is. And secondly, whoever knows this concept, they know the commercial aspect of it.
Right.
So we have to spend a lot of time just talking to people and trying to bring our perspective in front of them. Obviously, rental yield, no doubt, commercial will give you a little bit higher rental yield than residential. In the residential also, there are multiple flavors to it. If you're doing like a long-term family residential, renting out apartments and all, that is going to be lower, 2.5-3%.
Right.
If you're doing a vacation home or maybe service apartment, short-term kind of stays, then your rental yield is quite decent. It is anywhere around 5.5-6%, which is close to the commercial real estate. But then we have to explain them the property appreciation aspect. Now, I can't go around and explain people property appreciation aspect anywhere. Like I can't onboard a property in a tier 1 city which has been already grown quite a bit, but the appreciation aspect is not as great. That's why we make a very, very big effort, and that is the key, USP also I would like to say of our platform, that we try and find these tier 1 nodes, or maybe you can call them, or like tier 2 cities, which has a huge potential for growth in the next 4 to 5 years.
Right.
And that's when, that's actually where the story kind of makes sense. If I'm giving you an example of what currently we have on our platform, we have onboarded properties in the Oragadam region. Now, a lot of people don't know Oragadam. Honestly, even like when I moved back to India, I didn't know Oragadam, right? This is something that we discovered while we are doing our research and market analysis. It is about a 40-45 minute drive from Chennai. Couple of things. One is it is like the main automobile manufacturing location of Southeast Asia. Kind of known as the Detroit of Southeast Asia. Be it like the top automobile companies like Apollo Tires, TVS, BMW, Daimler, they're all there. Second thing is the recent CREDAI and CRE warehousing report came up. It is on the verge of becoming one of the biggest warehousing hub also.
True.
So Foxconn is coming there.
Yeah.
There is ESR Logistic Park, Green Base Logistic Park. So what happens is all this kind of things is going to help for the whole urban migration.
True.
Which in turn will, help appreciate the value of the asset, and also right now it is at a cheaper price. So you can also get a discount. So all this actually has to be explained to the investor, and that's when it kind of makes sense to them that why real estate and why exactly this property to invest in.
So explain our viewers also what kind of assets does come under Claravest. Are we talking about vacation homes? Are we talking about land plotted developments? What kind of assets are there?
So currently I would actually divide this into probably like 2 sections, or I don't know, like we are a small company to call it, but I'll still call it 2 verticals, right? The first is our residential space, wherein what I mentioned before, we are trying to focus on the tier 2 cities, the growing market, that kind of place. The second is actually a vacation home. A vacation home, as I mentioned, obviously it's not going to be probably a tier 2 city. Hotspot vacation homes.
Yeah.
Today everyone wants to invest in the Goa, Alibag, Lonavala, and all these places. So yeah, currently we are divided into these 2 things. The vacation homes is quite new. Actually, this weekend was actually the first time that we kind of launched it in an expo, did an offline launch. So yeah, but that's something the viewers can expect from us, at least for now.
And in tier 2 cities, as you mentioned, the first vertical, what kind of assets come under that?
Yeah, so what we are trying to do also, Kritika, is also being a little bit strategic about our partnership.
Right.
What we want that I can't just like pick up a property and then explain people, hey, these are the benefits of Oragadam. Like, this is the rental. Would you invest in it? And someone will be like, okay, that's great. So we are doing strategic partnership with brands also. So with respect to Oragadam, we have like pre-leased apartment, and we have onboarded this apartment from Hiranandani Group. So when people see that, people are like, okay, well, there is definitely quality.
Right.
Because he's known for the group is known for the quality. What they have done with Powai itself, being from Bombay. So that kind of like brings more trust to them that kidhar ka bhi property nahi utha ke laye, like it's a tier 1 developer, well-known developer, it's a township, integrated township. So one thing is the pre-leased apartment in that township. The second, for the vacation homes, we have done a strategic partnership with Saffron Stays. Now when people hear about Saffron Stays, even see Saffron Stays, one thing that pops in your head is luxury. One thing that pops in your head is like tier 1 service. So that the villa that you're investing in is going to be taken good care of.
Yeah.
That's basically going to reduce your maintenance, help you in rent generation. And we are also giving, the investors a little bit flavor of you can also come and enjoy that villa.
Yeah.
So it also brings up that thing that, now I'm investing in this villa. I get rental returns, I get property appreciation because, the quality of the villa is maintained. And lastly is like, I can also enjoy it with my friends and family, share this whole experience with them.
True.